Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all guys are doing well. I hope you have gone through my earlier video which was related to the history important long answer type question. So today we will be continuing further with some more questions. So let's get started. Briefly describe the reasons for the merger of the princely states. Discuss briefly the causes of integration of Indian princely states. Answer. After the independence of India, the merger of princely states in the modern India, it is considered an important event in history. In fact, before independence, the British had maintained the existence of these princely states to fulfill their personal interest, and after independence, these princely states got the option or right to merge with the Union or to maintain an independent existence. Most of the princely states merged with the Union, but there were some princely states like Junagadh, Hyderabad, and Kashmir, etc., who wanted their independent existence. In this perspective, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel got all the states merged into the Union under his direction. We can better understand the reasons for the merger of princely states through the following subheadings. Dual British policy. The British did not want to grant independence to India, but due to international pressure and the prevailing situation, they ended their rule in India. The British recognized the independent existence of these princely states to fulfill their personal interest and used them as opponent of the national freedom movement. In independent India, it was the desire of the princely states to maintain their independent existence and maintain diplomatic relation with India and Pakistan. Apart from this, he also wanted to maintain his relations with the British, but the British power had already ended its relation with them by ending its supreme authority established over the princely states. The British were no longer in favor of bearing the burden of the princely states, and it was a loss making deal for them. That's why the British left these princely states which were dependent on the mercy of the British. In such a situation, the princely state, which had been relying a lot on the British, got entangled in their dual policy, and finally they had to accept the proposal of merger. Loss of morale. The morale of the rulers of the princely states continued to decline due to the ever increasing popularity of the national movement. His morale started breaking down. The British had definitely maintained the legality of the princely state, but their internal and external affairs were taken under their control by the British, due to which the political and administrative capacity of the princely states began to end. In this context, after getting independence, they had to face these problems for which they were not capable. Meanwhile, Patel proposed merger in India in front of the princely states. Then most of the states thought it best to accept it. Autocracy of the princely states. The elements of autocracy were present in the rulers of the princely states since the British rule. In fact, these princely states were supported by the British, due to which they became more autocratic in nature. Due to the support of the British, these princely states had become more loyal to the British instead of being responsible to the public. Historian Rajni Pamdut has written on this that it is also wrong to call these princely states as the states. The British have kept them for their own benefit. They had the freedom to commit arbitrary and tyrannical acts on their subjects. In this way, the autocracy of these princely states became impossible to exist in independent India, and their merger became inevitable. Wasteful expenditure of the princely states. The rulers of the princely states used to spend a lot of money in their pride, due to which there was wastage of money. The treasury of the ruler was getting empty, but his habit of extravagance was not ending. They used to collect maximum land revenue during the British rule. They used to waste these revenues to please the British and on personal expenses. In 1926, while giving a speech on princely estates in Cochin, Srinivasa Shastri said, "Most of the princes will not be found in their palaces. They will be found somewhere where luxury can be bought with the money of poor subjects. You go to London or Paris or in any other fashionable city, you will find some Indian king or other nobleman dazzling the eyes of Europeans, and this his magnificence and dragging those who come near him down the path of degradation. In this way, there was no place left for wasteful princely states in independent India, so this merger had become a historical necessity. Backwardness of the princely states. Heavy social and economic backwardness prevailed in these princely states. The residents of these princely states had started considering the presence of these states as an obstacle in their social and economic progress. Industries and agriculture in these princely states were in a state of getting state of great backwardness. The backwardness of agriculture was due to the faulty agriculture system and land revenue system here. Apart from his Apart from this, education, health, etc. were also in a backward state in the state. In this regard, Jawaharlal Nehru has written in his autobiography, "The atmosphere there is suffocating and it becomes difficult to breathe. Underneath the stagnant and slow flow of water lies a mass of inertness and filth. One feels that it seems as if he is surrounded by a flood of thrones and his body and mind have been chained. He sees the public there in a very backward and painful condition, in contrast to the brightness and splendor of the royal palace. How much wealth of the kingdom is in hands of the king of that palace. It is shed like water in its personal needs and debenture. In such a situation, an environment had been created against them, inside and outside the princely states. Doubtful nationality of the princely states after accepting British supremacy by these princely states, their nationality was doubtful. When nationalist sentiments were rising in the country, the rulers of these princely states cooperated with the British in suppressing this national sentiment. For this reason, the devotion of these national rulers towards the nation was questionable in independent India in 1921. The rulers of the princely states established with Narendra Mandal under the pressure and consultation of the British. This organization was born only when the national movement was at its peak. The formation of the proposed Indian Union Number of Government of India Act of 1935 was rejected by the rulers of the princely states. In this way, the nationalists had absolutely no faith in the princely state and its rulers. Obstacle in territorial integrity. Princely states spread all over India was its continued existence was not in the interest of the territorial integrity of India. The British were also not in favor of India, a united state. Their only objective was to always be ready to establish their colony and to exploit it mercilessly economically. The people of independent India were determined to unite India in one thread and for territorial integrity, but this was not possible if the princely state continued to exist. That's why, by abolishing these princely states in independent India, an organized and strong government was established for the whole of India. Lack of democratic institution in the princely state. Under the autocratic monarchical system of governance, democratic institutions were not developed in the princely states of India. For public representation at all levels of administration, people had lost faith in the executive and the judiciary. Overall public participation in this governance was negligible. Due to this, there was either the ability nor the aspiration to work according to the public sentiments on the government. After the world wars, there was communication of resonance in different countries, as a result of which the foundation of democracy was strengthened, because of which democratic values were also communicated among the people living in the Indian princely states. In such a situation, it became impossible for these princely states to exist. People's movement. In these princely states, many people's movements were completed for democratic rights. The establishment of Akhil Bharatiya Praja Parishad in 1927 gave birth to an all India coordinating organization through which the movement against the native rulers started. While inaugurating the fifth annual session of Akhil Bhardeshi Raja Praja Parishad in Karachi in 1936, Nehru advised the workers of the princely states to intensify their movement. In 1938, a new phase of the people's movement of the princely state began. This this year, the Congress accepted the mass movements of the princely states as an integral part of its movement. The radical role of the Prajamandals in the Quit India movement of 1942 openly challenged colonialism and autocratic monarchy. In this way, these mass movements made the survival of the princely states difficult. Patel's skill. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, then Home Minister and head of the newly formed princely state department, had the skill and determination in the merger of princely states. He was fully aware of the obstinacy of the politics of these princely states. He appealed for the peace treaty by merging these princely states into the state. Some states accepted his appeal, but some states did not accept it. On this, Patel sternly warned them that if they did not accept the terms of merger, he would not hesitate to take up arms against them. Realizing the persistence and skill of Sardar Patel on this, almost all the states merged with the Indian Union. Conclusion. In this way, from the above studies, we come to the conclusion that the merger of native states was possible due to the dissatisfaction and anger generated in the immediate circumstances. It was not possible to maintain the attitude of the princely states toward the nationalists, which had hated in independent India. In independent India, the nationalists wanted to establish a united and unified India, which was never possible due to the existence of princely states. For this reason, almost all the native states were merged in India, in which Patel had an outstanding contribution.